The Pueblo Police Department are now within minutes of horror because their dispatcher is going to get a call at 3:28 in the morning that she wishes she hadn't. Having to trace the number back, to her surprise, is to a funeral home. Per their policy, even if a call is abandoned, an officer must still be sent to the location of the call, and a callback must be made to the person who made the call, letting them know the police will be arriving. As the officer is dispatched, the dispatcher makes a call and someone from the funeral home actually picks up. The dispatcher keeps saying hello, hello, but all she hears is static. You can actually listen to the actual real call here.
Pueblo 911, this is Erica. How can I help you? Hello? Hello? Hello?
The officer arrives to the funeral home, but soon as he pulls up, he looks out his window and sees a figure standing outside the funeral home, pointing directly at the building. He gets out of his car, closes the door, turns on his flashlight, and slowly walks up to what he believes is a person who is still pointing and not paying any attention to the approaching officer. Once the officer moves in close to get a good look at whoever's standing in front of him, it appears to be a woman who is in her 30s. Her hair is a complete mess, dark circles around her eyes like she hasn't slept for days, and trembling from her lips were the words, "Look inside, look inside." The officer asked the woman, "Ma'am, what's wrong? What are you doing out here this late into the morning? Did you call 911 for help?" But still paying him no mind, all she does is continue to point, with her eyes focused on the funeral home while muttering, "Look inside." Now a little shaken up by what's going on, the officer decides to phone in for backup, but all he hears is static. He turns back to the woman and tries comforting her, telling her everything is going to be okay. "I'm going to go and check out what's going on inside." He turns his back to the woman and slowly walks up to the funeral home, and in his ear he said he kept hearing "look inside," as if it was etched into his brain. He approaches the building, tries opening the door, but it's locked. He then walks over to the rightmost window and peeks inside. Unable to see anything, he uses his flashlight to get a better view of inside the funeral home. As he is looking all around inside the building, he can only describe it as being in utter disarray, with chairs thrown all over, and all these papers, which he believes to be pages of the Bible, were all torn up and spread amongst the floor as if a tornado ravished the inside of the funeral home. As he is moving the light of the flashlight all around the floor, he stops when he sees a pair of feet and legs. He slowly moves the light up to get a better view of who's standing inside, and all of a sudden, he feels a fear come over him that today he can't even describe, because his light is shining on the woman that was just outside the funeral home, but now on the inside, pointing directly at the officer with her mouth wide open, as if her jaw was broken. He turns around, doesn't spot the woman anywhere outside, and he said he ran back so fast to his car his pants nearly fell down, and as he was running, he was stumbling over his feet. He gets back into his car and speeds off. The officer goes back to the station on the verge of tears, doesn't tell anyone what he saw, but he said he needed the rest of the night off. He couldn't continue working the rest of his shift. He was so shaken up. From then on, the officer stated to have weird nightmares for 2 weeks about the woman and the funeral home, that this time he would be on the inside with her, and she would still be there pointing at him, saying "you looked inside," while chanting the Lord's Prayer. This news article does confirm this is a real story. A real call was placed. The dispatcher confirmed everything. The officer's story never made the news, but the officer did make a Reddit post over a year after this happened and gave a more detailed account. Whether his side of the story is real or not is up to you, but always remember, we are all within minutes of horror. This is just one story on a much larger anthology of stories on Scary 911 calls I will be uploading, So if you enjoyed this story and want to hear more, please subscribe and hit that notification button. And if you are subscribed, please like and comment, as it can only help the channel. Thank you.